So excited to go to our next speaker, Patty DeVault, who's coming to us from Dover Chemical. She's based in Ohio, and she comes to us with 25 years of tenure at Dover, with an extensive experience in procurement and MOR purchasing, over 18 years. And Patty, what we really love about your involvement with Arkestro is you've been a customer since 2020, and at this point, you're emerging as the power user with over 1,000 events. So excited to have you join us, and over to you, Patty.
Thank you. I'm happy to speak and share the story of Dover Chemical, who is a leading producer of basically specialty chemicals and specialty products that we provide to customers worldwide. Also, the products we make enhance materials used both in industrial and household applications. So some things that you have in your home may actually have Dover products in them. Don't need to really go over the other parts of this slide as we've talked over them. So a lot of my slides have a lot of information. I'm going to try not to read those line by line, but maybe just add to each line as we go. And please feel free to put comments in the chat or questions in the chat as we go along, as I'm speaking and telling the story of Dover, because I'm ecstatic to share our story and where we've come from 2020 and COVID and learning the platform. Next slide. So, of course, you know, when we talk to Arkestro, and at this point I really have to share, because the objective, of course, is cost savings, cost reduction, and all that goes with that. And having experience in procurement, when the CFO asked about us going to the platform, I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't think I'm doing my job. What am I doing? But it was a new CFO. So, okay, let's take it as is and let's move forward. Let's do this and see what the outcome is. And lo and behold, that first event saved us $10,000. So needless to say, I quickly became an advocate for then BidOps, now Arkestro. So I'll apologize now if I refer to the wrong name in the presentation. But we became quickly involved, and we did large events that did cost savings. But at that time, we didn't have a whole lot of data. And we didn't have a whole lot of history on being able to pull large quantities and do contracts and so forth on the platform. So we took that and we kind of looked at it and just decided, well, how can the platform work for us? How can we utilize it? And I think this is where more spot buy comes in, or better unplanned buy, emergency buy. And emergency not being necessarily that I need it in 24 hours, but I need it as soon as possible. And if I'm still going to quote it, let's go to the platform and throw some other people on that. So on this slide, you know, there was challenges, data clarity, and did we have enough information on there for an event? And then also, did we have buy-in from other departments? So those are still challenges moving forward. And I think we'll always have those challenges, but that's not a reason to not put it on the platform. Let's go to the next slide. This is just kind of our history and what we've saved and how many items we've put on the platform and how we've grown. So I'm going to say our average savings there is right around 12% annually over the last 4 years. And we've continued to grow products and projects on there. And you might be thinking, well, how are you growing projects? Well, because basically how we figured out to use the platform best was by fitting it into our daily process. So again, we looked at our process. We'd get our requisitions via our ERP system, and we would then create a spreadsheet, send those out to suppliers to quote, and in would come email after email after email from the suppliers. And that was a lot of, just going through the flow, print it off, make sure this is with this rec, and then reviewing all those to get the end result. With the platform, we could put it all on the platform. We could invite as many suppliers as we wanted. And a lot of times we invited suppliers that we typically wouldn't have asked for a quote from. So, that improved our supplier relations, because those that didn't even know we needed this market of things now started getting asked to quote it. It also made other suppliers realize that, hey, I'm not just their one-stop shop anymore. There's other people that are starting to win their business, and we need to sharpen our pencil. So that process just continued to grow. But then we got to the point where, okay, that's our normal quoting. We came to items that were single sourced, or we only knew of one supplier. And a lot of times there are, with certain pumps and so forth, only X distributor that can supply us in our area. So we thought about it and thought, what the heck, let's throw it on the platform and see what we get. The supplier doesn't know if they're bidding against 1, 2, 5, 10 other companies. They just know they have to provide pricing, or as I'm going to say, a quote on the platform. So we started doing some single sourced items and found, wow, that AI really works. This is a single sourced item that we have only continued to see increases on, but because of that suggested price, we're now seeing cost savings. So now that started us to look at, okay, what, we're going to throw, I don't want to say everything, but majority of our MRO is going on the platform. We utilize the platform as our quoting tool. And because we've used that as our quoting tool, when it came time to, we had an unfortunate incident and we lost data. And so at that time, because of everything that we had put on the platform, guess who came to the rescue? Yeah, Arkestro. They could pull that data from those events, give us our MRO part numbers, give us vague description or full description that we had lost, and really somewhat saved the day on us being able to calculate that information. So, I can't say enough about the platform and everything it does. We'll go to the next slide and we'll go to what we're looking forward to and what we have going on here at Dover and where we're going to expand outside of those MRO events. And we have a new procurement director, and he is definitely on the Arkestro train to get more and more put on the platform. So his objectives for us this year are to get 20% of our raw material on the platform events. And that is something we have not done. Of course, we'll continue to use MRO, and we're going to actually add our second location in Hammond, Indiana to that on the MRO side. We're actively talking with our director of engineering to be able to set a plan and how to get engineering and capital projects put on the platform, and maybe some contractor on there that they use. Then we will be doing a second integration. So we integrated with Arkestro to Microsoft AX 2012. We are in the process of new ERP going to Microsoft D365. So we're looking forward to doing that implementation again and seeing how else we can enhance the process and eliminate some additional time and so forth with that integration. Continue to standardize those descriptions, and then starting to use the platform to pull some spend analysis by categories and so forth moving forward. That's my slides for the deck. So I want to just open it up to questions you may have on to Dover and what we've done, and having so many events on there, just opening it up, and feel free to ask any questions.
Great. Patty, that was fantastic. Thank you for sharing. The results are incredible. Do we have any questions? Anyone have any questions for Patty? Right.
Yeah, I can ask Carolyn if it's okay. It's Roman from Canadian Tire. The question is more on the commodity versus the more complex product mix, right? Like I see on this slide that you see there's a 20% target for raw materials. I'm assuming it's a commodity-based products.
Correct.
How would you think about the commodity versus the more complex product usage of Arkestro for both? Thank you.
To be very honest, I'm not sure that there is a difference really. You know, when you use the platform, you can make it as simplistic or as complex as you want, and when you're entering that event. Yes, commodities have a little more, maybe some volatility there, but you know, you could look at the platform, you can set your timeline, your negotiation as to how long you want pricing in place for, whether you want it as just a one-off. The biggest thing is, again, I think about the platform is, how can I use it? How can I fit it into what I currently do? And when you think in that manner, and then you talk with your Arkestro and brainstorm that, 9 out of 10 times, maybe even 10 out of 10 times, they come back with a process, understanding your process, and then knowing theirs, how to make that work.
Thanks, Patty. And thanks, Roman, for the question. Any other questions or any other? Oh, I think we have one here in the chat. Patty, did Dover consider putting purchased direct material components on the platform? And will they do that in the future?
So when I speak of raw materials, that will be our direct purchasing. We have not yet, but that is the plan, that we will put direct on there. We're also in the process of doing some freight on there as well, some bulk loads, and then we're also looking at some global freight forwarding options and so forth on there. Those are our areas of growth for the platform.
Great. Great.